On.
There you go.
Hey, Alan, it's Kevin Gammie. How are you today?
Hi, Kev. Really good, actually, really good, especially since it's Friday.
Fridays are always awesome. They're not always awesome when you're finding technology, as we've just been doing for the last 15 minutes, but we're here finally, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, Alan, you've had an amazing life when I look at it from the outside. You see, the funny thing is we all think that our life is pretty normal and mundane because this is what we do. This is just what people do every day. However, you've actually worked for Kerry Packer, one of Australia's most famous. Don't know how that works, but anyway, you got me again?
Yep, got you now. I can see you.
Fantastic. So, sorry about that. So you work for one of Australia's most famous men. You also used to race cars, which is pretty exciting. Not everybody gets to do that. What else have you done outside work? Forget about work for a minute. What else have you done in your life?
Well, forget about work. I love animals. One of the best business I ever had was boarding kennels. And I always had this passion to have a boarding kennel, animals, dogs and cats. And I thought,
Yeah.
first, good money in it. But secondly, I just like dogs and cats. So that was one of the things we did. And we did really, really well out of it. And I suppose I've had commercial piggery, I've had farms, I've had plantations. So I've done one or two things, and I'm only 21 years old. So there you go.
All by the time you're 26. That's awesome. So let's have a chat a little bit more about your business. So what made you decide to give up corporate life and actually jump into having your own business? What was the catalyst that sparked that?
Well, it was pretty scary, actually, because at the time I did work for Kerry, and it was a pretty hectic life. And we were barristers and we were company takeovers, and we're doing some fancy things that in the 80s was a different world to today from a tax point of view. But
it was a lot more fun for those that weren't there.
Okay, it'd blow your mind if I told you some of the tax schemes. But it was like,
you won't go into that yet.
I know. I just decided I really wanted to. Just wanted to run my own race. I'm very passionate about looking after people. I'm a 24/7 person, and I just felt I wanted to do it myself and look after my family and not.
Cool. So it wasn't some bolt of lightning come out of the sky or anything like that. That's okay. There's not for everyone. Give me one thing that's been the greatest impact on the success that you've had in business so far.
Well, I often talk about this when I've been in a number of businesses. So when I started my existing business and the one before, which is just in practice, I started with a clean sheet of paper. I sat back and I thought to myself, if I'm going to do this, how would I do it? What would I do? How would I set the business up? What would it look like? The premises, the structure, delegation, staffing, operational. I really thought about it and stepped back from it and thought, if I'm going to do it from what I know, and I haven't been in business for a long time and seen many, many thousands of success, failure, etc. I thought, what would I do? And I sat down and I actually wrote a business plan. And I can tell you, no accountant that I know has ever written a business plan. And I actually did. I've done it twice, and then just did the business plan. So I really thought about it, and I stepped back from it, and I just decided, if I'm going to do it, I'll do it this way. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it at all. That makes sense.
Awesome. So have a business plan, be clear about what you want to achieve, I guess is the message there, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And really kind of know what you want out of the business. I mean, some people go into business because it's a job. They get sacked and they think, oh, I can do better myself, or they get pushed into it. And they don't really ever think about it in an intelligent and business-like manner. It's a job for them. So they're going, well, I got sacked, therefore I think I can earn a bit more money myself, so I'm going to start out. You've got to step back from that. You've got to step back, because you either have a job or you have a business. You don't have anything in the middle. And running a business takes a business attitude, and it's different at Consolidated Press.
It's funny. I was actually talking with my team about that just this morning, that even, as part of our team, we've all got to think like business people, and how can we do the best for the people that we're serving whilst we're looking after, the business at the same time, which is really cool. Great point. Do you have one mantra that you find that you keep saying to yourself over and over again, and a bit of a, hey, wake up call?
Well, I really push clients to look at their profit and loss all the time. Too many times clients get so involved with doing what the business does. They're on that mouse wheel, and the mouse wheel just goes around and around, goes nowhere. It doesn't even go outside the cage. So if you want to step outside where you're at, and I walk the talk. I don't tell people to do things that I would not do or have not done. So in all cases, when I'm talking to clients and I'm passionate about what's your profit and loss? Are you making profit? Are you making a loss? What are you trying to achieve? And let's reverse engineer that profit for the business. Let's reverse engineer what you want to earn. And I do this all the time. I do it myself. I look at our profit and loss every day, every week. And I know what our overheads are, our fixed costs, et cetera, et cetera. You're in business. You're not doing it because, I love what I do, but you're not doing it because you're forced to do it. You should do it because you want to do it.
It's not indentured slavery, not anymore. You're working for yourself. Absolutely. So what about one challenging experience? And you've owned, as we were talking earlier, you've owned a number of businesses throughout your life. I'm sure that crap has happened more than once, and you've been able to overcome that and to achieve. So what's one experience that sticks out in your mind as, hey, here was a particularly tough time? Because the lessons I want to get here is, like, we're speaking to small business people. We all go through it. Not the exact same thing that you're going through today, but other people have been through stuff.
Well, the old expression, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. You go in business, sometimes you get it wrong. One of the businesses I had was a finance company. We lent money on debtor factoring. We had quite a large bad debt, bit of fraud, I think, and a few things like that. And we really had to knuckle down and try and solve it. Of course, we didn't get that money, but we had to get business back to profitability. We had to really think about.
And so what did you do to overcome that?
Well, oddly enough, the one thing I did do is, there's an expression called orders of magnitude. Okay. So
yep.
Let's say you've got $100,000 bad debt. Well, if 100,000 was your only assets, then it would be important. But if you grew it very quickly and it was $1 million, then that's only 10%. So, and you often need to think about that. So, and you go, well, got 100,000 bad debt. It was something like that, by the way, about 120 in about 1990 or thereabouts.
Exact number doesn't matter. That's a good one.
Yeah. So if you go, okay, if I triple my business, then that's not going to be such an issue. Or if I quadruple or whatever. And that's just another way of looking at orders of magnitude. So it becomes smaller. So how do you make a number smaller? You make the other environment bigger. And it's handled. And the other part was I grew the business very quickly to cover the debt. And then later on, I was able to manifest a company takeover. How did I do that? Well, I just put myself into the right zone, and you won't believe this, but I was like, got ourselves ready for a takeover, and the phone rings. Oh, I'm Mr. Was no Walker. His name was Barry Walker from SH Lock. We're just looking at buying factoring companies. Would you be interested in selling? And I can tell you that exactly happened. And I don't know how I did it, but when you read The Secret and some of those movies, self-help things, you can actually manifest those things. And I didn't realize I was doing it at that time, but I did. And when you have the right mindset on your business, the right mindset on what you're trying to do with your business, those things that go past your peripheral vision, all of a sudden you'll see something. It's like you think you're buying a new BMW, you'll see BMWs everywhere. If you weren't thinking about BMWs, you wouldn't see them. If you've got a right mindset and a vision on where you're trying to achieve and what your business is going to look like, you've got a better chance of seeing those things that are within.
Then you'll quickly find out what that should be. Sorry, you froze up there for a second. Excellent. So, no, fantastic. So we do have a quick question. Okay, so there was a more general one. We'll come back to that one another day. But what I want you to think about is what's one topical tip? So at the moment, what are some of the things? There's a lot of stuff on the banking industry and the Royal Commission, the finance industry. How are these things affecting accountants and their view of the world at the moment?
Well, I should send a thank you letter to the tax office this year because they've been responsible for giving us quite a lot of new business. Bottom line is...
So the tax office is getting a bit more vigilant?
Exactly. And to be honest, a bit stupid, but that's fine. That's the world we live in. And people's office, look, that's our world. And it's what we deal with every day. I think the message is it's getting harder and harder to slip between the cracks. And we've seen people get fined. We had a guy last year was fined $86,000, 86 grand for failure to lodge. 84 lodgements outstanding. And I know he put his head in the sand. What happens when you got your head in the sand?
Did you just say there was 84 lodgements outstanding?
Exactly.
That is making me feel so good. I mean, I felt a little bit behind once, and then I've got to admit, once I was a little bit behind, then I was feeling embarrassed about it, which made it harder for me to do the work to make it to catch up, which took a little bit of extra time. So I was a little bit, but nothing like 84 lodgements behind. So I'm feeling really awesome that I've not been as bad as that dude right now.
Look, there's a lot that are. You'd be surprised. We had one that was about 10 years outstanding of just PAYG. We got him back 36 grand in refunds. He said to me when he came to me, should I go and get a loan? I said, look, hang on a bit. Let's just work this out. And let's just see what your situation is. Don't stress yet. Went through it all. And look, I've done this once or twice before. So if you've got all the old years, tax office doesn't have too much records on it, it's a little bit easier to deal with it. And if we're dealing with the tax office proactively rather than reactive, the one that had 84 lodgements, 84, 86, can't remember now. The tax office pulled him screaming to the court.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got 10 or 15 years outstanding and the tax office can't find you and they haven't issued you court summons, you better go to them direct. Then let us handle it. And as I said, this guy got 36 grand back in refunds, and he was
fantastic. So your top tip would actually be stay ahead of the taxman. And not stay ahead of the taxman as in lie, cheat, and steal from him, but actually stay on your front foot. And actually, if you are getting a bit behind, put your hand up and say, "Hey, taxman, I'm getting a bit behind. I'm trying to get this sorted so that they're not chasing you, and they're going to be more benevolent." I guess would be for want of a better word, but they're going to be more helpful in that situation. Yeah.
Exactly, and engage a professional, because remember, that's what we do every day. You go and talk to the tax office, you'll probably open your mouth and say the wrong thing. Not you.
What?
Personally.
It sounds like you know me.
Not you, Kev. So, like when we had one guy sitting in front of a tax auditor complaining about companies that get away with this, get away with that. These guys they're just working for the tax office. We don't need attitude. All you need to say is, yeah, look, we've done the wrong thing. Let's just handle it. All professionals. They're just doing
absolutely. And I actually think that's great advice, because dealing with the tax office is going to be stressful enough. If you let somebody else do that, it's not stressful for you to deal with the tax office on behalf of someone else, because it's not personal. Whereas if it's me trying to do it, I get you completely. So that's fantastic. So simple steps. One, if you are behind, have a chat with an accountant and get him to help you get out of that mess so that he can stay ahead of it, work with the tax office on your behalf, whether it's Allan, whether it's someone else. Look, Allan is someone I've known for some time. He has had a pretty amazing life, and yet very, very humble about it. Strangely enough, he's one of those weird guys that loves tax. I get it. So please don't judge him on that. Don't judge him on that unless you're doing it well and going, "Hey, Allan, could you give me a hand?" Because he really does know. He is the guy that was helping Kerry Packer when he sat in front of the Royal Commission and Kerry went, "You're not looking after your taxes. I'm going to keep minimising as well as I can," or whatever he said. So very bad, Kerry Packer impersonation. Allan, thanks very much for your time today. I'm pretty sure people have learned some stuff.
Later on, we can talk about the 78 cents that Kerry sent to the tax office. That was a funny one. He got a bill and it ended in 78 cents. So we sent him 78 cents. He said, "That's all you deserve."
Fair enough. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Right.
Have some fun. It is Friday, so I want you to have a great weekend. Thank you very much for your time today. If you have any questions for Allan, just put them in the comments below, and we'll chat soon. Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye.